Well, hi everybody, and what a lovely sunny day it is here again today. Don't you just love it? It's that hot I've actually put a brolly up for the koi so that there is some shade down yon end, because the lilies haven't come to much this year. I'll put a brolly up down the other end just to give them a bit of shade so they can actually get in the shade if they want it. And as you can see, there's several of them down there. If I zoom in a little bit, several of them down there enjoying it, just keeping under the shade. If your pond's directly in the sun all day long, koi can actually get sunstroke. Do bear that in mind. As you can see, the rest of my pond is in the sun, it gets sun all day. In fact, most of the fish are down there under the shade at the minute because it is real hot here today. So it just gives them that bit of cover like the lilies used to, but they don't anymore. So they're all down there enjoying a bit of shade. What I want to do today is I want to change the mesh on the RDF. Get that changed over and get it back up and running with a finer mesh on it. So I'm going to change that over and give it a try today, see how things go. I also want to do a water test. I haven't done one for a week, but I'm going to do a water test on the pond just to keep an eye on how things are running. We'll check up on that. So I should be doing that later as well. So it's going to be all go again today. Now for the RDF mesh changeover, I shall have to shut the pond down, but it'll only be for about an hour, hour and a half, so it shouldn't be too bad at all. Right guys, bit of a job on today. What I'm going to be doing, what I have actually got here, is it's just come, the new mesh for my RDF. What I'm going to do is a mesh change. Now I've got that sieve running on the pond, it's lightened the load on this no end. So what I'm going to do is fit a finer mesh and see how we get on with it. But as you can see, it's really clean, there's not a lot happening. I don't know whether you'll get the water coming in, whether the camera will pick it up, but it's all quite clean. There's nothing untoward in there at all. So what I'm going to do is have a go at reducing my mesh size, see how we get on. I am using a 70 mesh on there at the minute, and 70 micron, so I'm going to drop it down to 60, see how we get on with that. Okay, I've got everything shut down, the river's shut down, the moving bed's shut down, the pump is actually switched off, I've got that off at the moment, and the sieve filter we'll just nip and have a look at. And the sieve filter is all stopped, the gate valve's closed, so now we'll get on with trying to fit this mesh. What I am going to do, being as it's a bit of a warm day today, is I'm going to switch the air on to the pond, so we've still got some air going into the pond basically. So I'm going to switch that on. That's going to put us air into the pond, make sure the fish have got plenty of air, being as the water's not circulating. So now I'm going to put you on top of the moving bed. We'll stick you on there so you can just see what's going on. So the first thing is to start getting this taken to pieces really. So we'll whip that off and start taking everything to pieces. I shall drop the drive belt off, get that off, and I'm also going to turn the timer off. I don't want that triggering while I'm doing this. So I'm going to switch that off. I can remove spray bar. That was the whole idea of putting a connector in there so that we can take that out. That just clips out of there. Just make sure you don't lose the rubber seal. Get rid of the water. Okay, so now I can start getting my clamps undone and get this old mesh off. They will just slide over out the way, and the same on this side. Right, that's the Jubilee clips out of the way. I shall now get the Allen key and we'll start removing the mesh. Okay guys, that's got the screws out of one side. Let's just take that off and we can start to remove the mesh. Now we come to the halfway fixing screws, so we'll whip them out. There's only 3 of these, so it's not too bad. Get them out, keep hold of the bar, making sure I don't drop it because it can be a bit of a nuisance to try to get out of that bottom. Out of the bottom of the RDF. We'll put that up there out of the way and carry on removing the mesh. And then we come to the other side screws on the end of the mesh. So we'll whip them out. These are the ones that when we start to put it back we'll put in first. What I shall want to do is give this a little bit of a clean out. All the algae over the past that's been trapped in here. Obviously taking this off, like all the way around the edges here. Taking this off, we can get at it now, so I might just give that a quick rinse down and then siphon that out. So just to give it a clean out basically while we've got it this far. So it's all nice and clean to continue with. It's a beautiful day here today, the sun's blasting away and I'm stuck in the field house again. Never mind. I do love the sun. Okay, that's got all the screws out. I'll just take that bar and put it up there. I like to keep everything the right way round so that when you go to put it back it's in the right spot. You're not wondering which bit goes where. Everything is the right way round. So I'll remove the mesh. Now what I want to do is just give the drum and the actual outflow, the tray, give that a clean as well. Just going to give it a bit of a clean down. As you can see, this, I hope you can see, quite a bit of algae worked its way into them ridges on the drum. So I want to fetch that out while I've got the opportunity. The actual tap water that is going into the drum itself I shall siphon off. I won't let it go into the moving bed. There's nothing flowing at the moment, so it's not a problem. All this will land in the bottom of the RDF. It's a good chance to get rid of all this actually. Okay, now I want to siphon the water off that's in the bottom, all the dirty water. I want to get that out. Right, I've got a piece of pipe here that I use to give this a clean. So I'll just start that siphoning and then get that dirt out. And there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go around and get as much of this dirt out as I possibly can. I'll be back in a minute once I've got this clean. I've got it clean out best I can. I hope you can see it. I'm not quite sure what you can see. My hands are all wet, so I'm not trying to get the camera too wet. But that's got it all clean out. The mesh is nice and clean, the guttering's nice and clean. So now we'll think about fitting the new mesh. So I'll put you guys back on the tripod and let's see if we can get that fitted. Okay, here's the new mesh. Take that out, be very careful with this. Try not to damage it. So now we'll get it fixed to the drum. Okay guys, that's got the mesh started on that side. So we shall slowly move it around the drum. Making sure it's going on nicely. Keeping the clips out of the way if we can. Make sure it's all nicely fitting. Go around a bit further. It should be like so. So we'll then take a second fixing bar, pop that on the middle. So we'll make a hole in the mesh. Keep the mesh tight, that is the main thing. Got a hole, so now we want a screw. Screw the centre one on. Checking again, make sure the mesh is tight before you tighten it up fully. Like so. And then we shall leave the two outside ones for now and carry on, hopefully, round the drum. Okay guys, I've got the mesh on around the drum. As you can see, it's all round and fitted. I've just got the odd screws holding it on at the minute, but now I should go around and put the rest of the screws in, and then we'll get our Jubilee clips back on. But I'll get the rest of the screws in first and make sure everything is nice and tight. Okay guys, I've just trimmed the excess off, so that's all fitting, all screwed in. So I'll just get the remaining bolts in, go round them once more and check them, and then I shall start to get the Jubilee clips on the end. So I'm just going to get these final bolts in these, just make the holes for them. We'll get the final bolts in, then we'll soon be back to getting it up and running. Do be careful with these, because if you drop them at this point, if you ever do this, it's a heck of a job to get them out there. But I have a magnet just in case, so I can just slide it down the side and pick them up with a magnet. Because this is the biggest size drum that we can do on this RDF, you can't get your hands down the side, it's quite tight. It's quite a tight fit. You do have to be careful, because if they go real tight when you're putting these screws in, it means you've got a piece of fine wire off the mesh in with the thread. Now that could stop you screwing the bolt all the way in. So basically, if you feel it like that, take it out and make sure you clean it out and there's no wire threads going down the actual thread of the screw. Like I say, that could cause problems. Right, I'll get the other screw in and then we'll get the Jubilee clips on. Okay guys, the mesh is on, so now the Jubilee clips are all tight, the nuts are all tight, so now I'll get my spray bar back in and the belt back on, and we'll think about giving it a run. But not too bad at all in and working very shortly. Okay guys, the spray bar's back in, the cover's back on, so now we'll start switching things back on again. Get some flow going through it and see what happens. I'll just give it a spin to make sure everything's working alright before we start the pump. I'll just switch the pump off, so it's not running dry. Everything looks to be fine. Great stuff, that's working fine. Okay, I'm just going to open up the gate valve and then we'll go switch the pump on. As you can see, the flow valve is stopping too much water flowing through there. So now we'll go switch the pump on and see how we go. The valve is now opening up again, now the pump's running. So everything should be okay in there, we've got the flow, so now we'll go check things out in the actual filter house. Right, we've got flow into the RDF. I can't believe how quiet it is in here now. The RDF is now starting to fill up and everything looks okay there. So nothing else switched on yet, but I'll just put you back on the tripod and we'll get things going. I can hear the flow going back to the pond now. All looks okay, so I'm now going to turn the river back on. That's the river back on, so we should see a flow coming through there shortly. Yep, the flow's coming back from the river. Just check the other side. All looks good. So we now do have a flow through the RDF. Great stuff. Just give that a minute and then I shall switch the UV back on and the air pump into the moving bed. So we should then be all back up and running. What I will do is just test the pump, make sure that fills up with water. Turn that down a bit. That's fantastic, that's working well. Great stuff. That all seems to be going really well. Everything else seems to be flowing. I shall now put the air back on into the moving bed. We'll get that turning over. So we'll just show you guys round. Just bear with me. So we've now got the air onto the moving bed. The only thing that I haven't got switched back on yet is the Evo 30. But we've got the flow back into the moving bed from the Backy River. The water level in here looks fine, if I can show you it. Everything looks good in there. And a good flow back into the RDF. So we're all up and running. We'll just nip and check outside, make sure the sieve filter's running properly. Just make sure everything's hunky-dory in here. And our water level is okay. The water level's looking a little bit low at the minute and I don't know why. The valve's wide open. It'll probably take it a second to get up to speed. But I'll just keep my eye on that, that's low at the moment. I found out why the water level was low. I've just checked and the bottom gate valve on my bottom drain wasn't fully open. It's fully open now and that's running much better. A lot better. So that sorted that out. So all the time I've been running this I hadn't fully opened the bottom valve on my gate valve. So that actual float now is running a lot more restricted than it was. It's about level now and it was slightly facing down on the arm. So that would have been a bit of a problem. But I've sorted that now. That's okay. And a good flow into the sieve filter. Okay guys. The RDF's just triggered. There's the dirt going out. We should be catching a lot more dirt now with a bit of luck. So great stuff. We'll see how this new mesh performs. See if it makes any real difference. If not, we'll go down another size. We'll just see what this RDF can do once pre-filters run on it. If we watch this sieve filter down the bottom there, you can actually see the dirt coming in and it taking it out. All the bits that's coming in, you can see them and it's moving them down to the bottom. You will see it catching them. It has slowed down a bit now. I've got the actual bottom valve open properly on the on the pond. So the flow is much better now. I've turned the pump up actually. I'm running 135 watt. I was running 130. But like I say, you can see the dirt coming in there, getting caught and ending up down the bottom there. It's catching everything, it's brilliant. Okay guys, I've got my test kit out, so what I'm going to do is go to the pond and we'll get a sample of water. If I fill this, it's just about enough water. We'll take it from this end of the pond. If I turn my tester bottle upside down, dip it in the water, then turn it over, we get a decent sample. We don't just get water off the top of the pond. we should get a decent sample then. So that should be plenty. So we'll take that back and see how we get on. Okay guys, so I'm with the ammonia first going to do, and we'll want 10 ml for the ammonia. We shall want 10 ml for the ammonia, 5 ml for the nitrite, and 10 ml for the nitrate. So first of all we shall want 1, 2 and 3 for the ammonia. That is the NH1, NH2 and NH3. So we'll put 5 drops, give it a shake, 5 drops in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just give it a bit of a shake, make sure it's mixed in. 5 drops of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 drops of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, lid on. Give it a good shake up. Notice the time. It's 15 minutes, that one. So we'll leave that there. So now we go on to the nitrite. Now the nitrite only wants 5 minutes. So we want the NO2 in here, and we want 5 drops of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 drops of that. So we can put them back now, give that a bit of a shake. Give that a bit of a shake, put the lid on it. Now that only wants 5 minutes. So we'll stand that there for 5 minutes and see how we fare with that. Now we want the nitrate. For the nitrate we want the NO1 and NO2. So we want 5 drops again of each. So if we put this in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bit of a shake. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. In there. And now we want a spoonful of, I'm not quite sure what they are, but I think I call them metal filings. That's just what they look like. You have a little spoon, come with your kit, and you just want a level spoon of that. It's microscopic, just a level spoonful of that. Drop that in, close it up, put it away, put a lid on it and give that a good shake. That one's shaking for about 20 seconds, that one. So that one wants a really good shake. That can stand with the rest, take note of the time. That wants 15 minutes, the same as the ammonia. So we've noted the time. So I'll get my test cards out. So we want nitrite, ammonia and nitrate. So we'll give that 5 minutes and then we'll have a look at the nitrite. Okay guys, the nitrite has had its time and there is a tiny bit showing. It's tiny, it's very slightly discoloured, but it's under 0.5 milligrams, so that's good. That is good. The amount of fish I've got in there, it's definitely going to show some, but that's quite good. It's under the, it's around where it should be. It's just slightly coloured. It doesn't even come up to the colour chart, so that's good for the nitrite. The ammonia, it is a lovely bright yellow, so that's where it should be. That's great stuff. It's a lovely colour, yellow. I'm not quite sure. It's very difficult to get the light, but it is a nice yellow colour, and that's where it should be. So my ammonias are okay. Now my nitrates, it is showing a little bit of nitrate, but looking at that, I would say we're about 10 milligrams, roughly. Probably a little bit more, but that's not a problem. That's okay. I don't understand if there is nitrate in my pond like that, why my plants aren't growing. There's probably not enough. I mean, I used to have about 50 milligrams in there, milligrams per litre, but it's down to about 10, between 10 and 20 probably, which is quite safe. There's no problem with that at all. So that's the water test done on my pond, nothing too scary. Great stuff, good news. What I did want to show you is I've actually got a flower come on one of the irises. Now this is last year's, not this year's that I've put in, but this is last year's. And I've actually got a flower come on one of the irises, which is quite good to see actually. I mean, they're nothing like there was last year, but we've actually got a flower out of one of them, so that's not too bad. I'm afraid this basket here is not faring too well. It's not got a lot of growth on it at all. The next one is a little bit better. I've got some growth in that this year. And this is the new irises, which aren't doing too well. But everything else is fine, the fish are good. I'm quite happy. Yeah, the pond's doing well. As you know, the lilies aren't coming too much, but there you go, there's not a lot I can do about that. I've got my baskets, as I showed you last time, set up along the top of the pond. They, with a bit of luck, will be trailing down the front of the pond in a short while. So great stuff, all set for a lovely summer. Now, I have had one or two ask me how long it takes for me to clean this filter out. So I'll just show you quickly what I do most of the time. And let's get in here and scrape it all together. Like so, if I can see through the camera. I'm trying to see through the camera. Pick it out and chuck it on the side. And basically, that's all I do most of the time. I do, if it starts to clog in the mesh, just give it a quick blast with a hose pipe. But that's about it. That's all I'm doing to clean this filter. Not a lot of problem at all. I can actually take the tray out if I want to give it a clean, which is not a problem. Just take it out, hose it off and put it back. That's not a problem. But cleaning this thing is just so easy. It's saving me ages, and I don't have to shut my pond pump down like I used to have to with the basket on the old SS20. So I can just whip the dead out if I want. Most of the time I just pick it out, and that's it clean. And there you go, a quick rinse with the hose pipe, and I can pop it back in again. Now I can't put it in one-handed, I have to have two, so I can't hold the camera and put this in at the same time. So I'll just whip it back in. There you go, it just drops in, pulls up, clips on, and away it goes again. And the drop board goes back in, like so. And off we go again. Great stuff, all done. And that's how everything works, guys. Anyway, from a very sunny, with a lovely breeze, South Lincolnshire, I'd just like to say, thanks for watching, do take care, and as always, happy ponding.